Hello everyone, thanks for watching that break. Korean casters are ready, and Ryung and soO are ready, and Rifkin is back for the cast.
Yep. Well, for now, I guess asterisk. I still don't know what happened. The internet just like totally died. I was actually kind of scared it would be like a DDoS or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, so
As Ryung versus soO, this is actually not a matchup. Like, again, if we're just going off of name, notability, fame, whatever, like you don't think Ryung and soO in the finals of something like this.
Yeah, you think soO, and his name is like up here, and then Ryung is like down here. But actually, in the context of Olimoleague and online stuff, that does change the dynamic. First of all, Ryung's getting better. soO hasn't been on top form for a bit. And then online is different than offline. And the Olimoleague, I feel like, really does at this point have some home field advantages to contribute to, especially our Terrans. Olimoleague, I expect to win this stuff. My confidence through the roof. Or something like that. But interestingly, I bothered looking it up because there is so much downtime. Ryung beat soO the last time they played, which was April of 2016. So 5 months ago, 6 months ago. In Pro League, you beat him 1-0. Yay, Ryung! Oh, I pressed the wrong button. What was it? Here we go. This one. Okay, we're good. In the bottom right, first map, New Gettysburg in his best of 5. He is the blue Terran, Ryung.
And his opponent spawning bottom left. He's coming in as the red Zerg challenger to the Olimoleague champion. It's soO.
Okay. Going for that.
It's a little bit too much for Ryung, but it's worth noting again, like, victory, loss, but every single time in the finals for the last 3 Olimoleagues.
Oh yeah, he's been seriously rocking in the Olimoleague. I think we missed Griffithus. Thank you for the 27-month resub. Well,
I would say you did. This one's on you.
yeah, because it happened in the break. God.
Yeah, dude.
God, I'm gonna miss it. Just didn't get around to it yet. Anyways, soO did this against Gumiho to get that early snipe in the SCV. Now, Ryung, I think the chance of him going mech is drastically lower. In fact, I don't even remember Ryung going for mech ever versus Zerg since Heart of the Swarm. Pretty sure. I remember like one build, maybe, like in TvT, but no, I think he's a bio player in TvT. The point is, Gumiho, you expect this kind of stuff, the mech stuff, the weird all-in stuff, against a Zerg player. And while Ryung just showcased a lot of cheese versus a Protoss player, I don't think the same thing can be done, first of all, versus a Zerg, and I don't think Ryung would be the one to do it. Technically, you can 4-racks a Zerg and, like, you know, proxy 3-racks, but that stuff isn't as popular as, especially Ryung, actually. Because I remember I was talking about the 1-base builds versus Protoss and how you would defeat that with a Void Ray. That was flipping Ryung doing that and making it look so impressive in the Ting qualifiers. Totally forgot, but that was him.
Yeah. Actually, Ryung and Snoot in the semifinals are still one of my favorite ones of all time.
Oh yeah, that was really fun and stupid. D-Sox is a good map. I liked it. Saves the SCV, but not for long, I would say. I don't think he's actually going to be able to save it. But the point is, it stops building the command center. And it's awkward because he builds a reactor. Oh, it's awkward. SCV went down. And he's not pulling the Reaper back. He did and then thought he didn't need it. Okay, fancy footwork, but everything's good now. Everything's okay. And Ryung can try and scout with the Reaper. Problem on New Gettysburg, of course, is that you can't really get past the natural. So you're not really getting into the main base. But he scouts the 3rd base is down, and that's a good enough scout for now. Ryung, by the way, goes for 2-1-1 build. Kind of forgot to mention that. Got the 2nd barracks pretty early.
Well, with Stim on the way, I think it's safe to say we're not going to see anything too crazy. As much as I did love seeing Gumiho try and play mech, clearly it didn't work as soO was the one who advanced.
That's
and I
true.
think if Ryung were to try and pull that out, it'd be bad news bears. So I like that he sticks with something he's good with and something that he knows. Again, I think Gumiho and soO is more of a result of them playing together before, less about like Oh, it's soO. I sense weakness. I'm gonna go mech.
Yeah. Well, hopefully soO doesn't think that everyone in the league plays mech. I don't think he does. And he should be prepared
No.
for this 2-1-1 build.
If he did, that would be very foolish of him, to be honest.
Yeah. As a joke is joke. But the Overlord has not exactly seen... Oh, it did. Ooh, it barely got in there. I guess it's the one that died in supply block soO, actually. So it knows that it's 2-1-1 build. It's all timing on the second barracks. And you know exactly when to produce about 20 lings, get the queens in the front lines, all that jazz. And is going for one of the more standard TvZs we've seen today. Double evolution chambers, quicker upgrades for soO, even though Ryung's getting his now. Should still be quicker for the Zerg player. And medevacs are... There they are outs. Oh, he's missing 2 Marines. What a casual.
Okay, that's one way to phrase that. I like to think that it's more he wants to make sure there's space so he doesn't leave anyone behind. There you go. That's the positive spin on it, right?
No? You're still in a space.
No, but when you unload the Marines, you try and do the pickup to run away, and sometimes the full medevac tries to pick up that last Marine, so you gotta abandon ship. Like,
Done with you.
alright, so the Queens very quickly focus this down. By the way, no hesitation from soO. The slowlings are awkward to see this many up, but speed kicks in just a second, and I think they should be fine to deal with Ryung. This push initially really hasn't done much, and unfortunately misses the one active tumor he needed to hit for this.
Standing on, in fact.
The Queens being baited to the bridge, though, is almost surprising to see soO do that. On one hand, like, okay, maybe you reach for the medevacs, but if Ryung's fighting here, he can't be surrounded by lings. This is the exact place he wants to take a fight.
Mm-hmm. That was little. That was a mistake, I would say. But their base is on the way. I was really waiting for that ling to do something, and it didn't. So, rip. So Naga being taken now. Thank you to Catle... Why? Catla13 for 3-month resub. Why you do this?
That clearly says K4TLA13.
3 mount done. I assume you meant the same month. And 9 to go for the wonderful Partouf. Try pronouncing it. Oh, look at this. Try pronouncing it as Cutla.
Cutla.
Okay.
Well, we should have read that first, clearly.
Well, okay, a 4 is never ever meant a U. That is your fault. Okay, I get it though. I get it. I got it. I'll remember. I remember that one guy's
Cuttlefish.
name, you know, Kalari Chatal. Look, I still remember it. So I'll remember yours.
The only thing I remember with that name is it's not Kilaris. Oh man, Ryung is getting screwed by this air blocker, by the way. He even went back to specifically fix it. Medevac gets stuck once again. Kind of awkward.
Well, it's unfortunate, because he really hasn't been keeping up on the aggression. The attempt to put all 3 medevacs together can generally surprise a Zerg player, but he did the whole Dirk thing, and I don't think he's quite surprising soO. Maybe, though,
really
only 4 banelings.
I love and want to stress love that he's trying to take this fight around the bridge. Now, Widowmine did both some good and some bad with that, by the way. Yeah, friendly fire the Marines, but he killed a lot of lings in the process. But either way, by fighting on this bridge, there's no way that he can get surrounded, and this is huge for these ling-based fights.
It's true. But all soO really needs to do is defend, and that's kind of what's always so worrying is, unless this is starting to really add up on damage-wise, like getting a couple drones here and there, getting a muta here and there, making soO mess up his macro here and there, if it's just killing lings and not all of the lings, I would say the continued aggression is actually a failure. Not a failure in that, like, Ryung's gonna lose this game, obviously, but that soO should not feel confident, or comfortable, rather.
Wow. I just heard that Ryung is going to lose this game, obviously.
Obviously. You know what, if he does, I'm gonna go back to that and be like, I called it. But it means that the Zerg feels comfortable, I would say. You know, he just took out a good number of Marines, too, because he did commit to the engagement. And anything more is probably not going to be that overwhelming, like, oh shit, like I underprepared for banelings. He only needs lings and queens to really clean this up, still, especially on creep. And the mutas are out, so drops like this might not be able to continue. Do we have any spore crawlers? We have 1 spore crawler in here. That'll help a little bit. Sees the drop, pulls back. I think he could have surrounded that.
No, there's that drop of the main. Nicely done. There's not that many drones left mining here, funny enough, but it's still important to get this base. If you can pick off that spawning pool, obviously best case scenario. What am I, Burrows? I'm Burrows trying to maximize his hit potential here. Ugh, kills Marines again. Son of a friendly fire. Topside's got the Banelings coming in. Ryung's a little bit slow to the pick 'em, and that's what I'm talking about, Zombie Girl. There's not enough room in the medevacs.
Clearly. soO is doing an excellent job defending, and it's really starting to get worrying. Not only did Ryung commit the first 3 medevacs and lose them, he's committed 4 more medevacs and either lost them or didn't do any damage with them.
I'm going to 100% for the rest of this series try and find an instance and an iteration where I can use them.
The only time I would see that working out, remember that one time, this rarely happens, where the Marauder made it so you couldn't pick up like a Widowmine or something? Because like the guy mis-microed his medevac seats. Anyways, this game might just be over, in fact. I mean, I knew soO was doing a good job. He had a huge bank. He was defending super well. But to feel so confident as to push into a Terran is just generally not what happens. You have to feel, like, super confident to do this, and soO does. I got this. His 2-2 is almost done, but pairing up with Ryung, so it's not like he has a lead there. He just simply has killed too much of Ryung's army. With all these drops not working out. If he had faster reinforcements, he can't actually spend all of his money. He would definitely have won this game by now, but he's still winning it.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see, there's still problems here at the third. Production split between the 2 bases as well. So Ryung to consolidate and clean this up is easier said than done. He is starting to finally make it happen. As soon as bleeding out mutas for it, you know what? Honestly, like not as many workers went down as I thought it would. The production didn't lose a bunch of its reactors and tech labs. I seriously thought soO was going to do so much more with this.
It really was a lack of Ling reinforcements. And it didn't have like 20 mutas, you know, snowballing into 12.
20.
Yeah. That still is a bad sign, though, the army supply here. Generally, the Terran is, in fact, like up 10, 20 supply. And for a time, soO was up 20. I guess they're evening out now. So the game could still continue, for sure, but I think the pace of the game has certainly swung, like, definitely, completely in favor of soO. Ryung kind of probably feels like he's kind of starting from 0 again, especially because he wasn't prepping for a long game. He wanted to do more damage with what he did. He doesn't even have a 4th base. He's transferring over his orbital. And
I mean, in a pinch,
it's okay.
You gotta.
Yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it for me. It's just okay. I think Ryung knows with how far he's pushed back. soO is already on his way to a Hive. Ryung, I don't think he needs a scan for this. I think he just knows.
Yeah, I think in the back of your mind too, the fact that there wasn't a big Ling follow-up, the fact that this wasn't a dedicated all-in, Ryung's he has to assume this macro going on behind it and just focus on that. And that being said, what can he do in this situation, right? Like, he's actually got 3-3 coming up. Ryung's upgrades are fantastic coming to the late game. It's going to be a type of supply, though. And right now, he's still pumping out a lot of Marines. And maybe for the next minute, a lot of Marines is going to be what you want to have. But he's going to need Marauders. He's going to need Liberators, Ghosts, anything to do with the Ultras. Banner's trying to roll in. Marauders get some okay concussive shell shots. Only 2 SCVs go down for that. Maybe a couple of depots, depending if they get repaired.
Yeah.
Not bad for a small investment out of soO.
You got Widowmines with it, I would say it's worth. soO has managed to put the creep spread almost in the middle of the map. This is a lot of work for Ryung to clean up, and soO just looks... especially when you're maxed out with Needling Bling with decent upgrades, by the way. 3-3 not quite done for Ryung. I think you almost always take a fight. Almost always take a fight on creep. Off of creep is a little bit scarier, though. The Widowmines are already burrowed, so a couple of them get the shots off, and I'm not sure soO should have done this, but it looks like it's going to be fine anyway.
If these second round of Widowmines get hits, then you're right.
Oh,
you shouldn't
Jesus.
have. The Banelings get picked off. Pretty big numbers. But
Oh,
Ryung
not
doesn't.
splitting.
He stops kiting for just a second. It costs him half of his Marines.
Yeah, that was easily like 10, 15 Marines down that Widowmine hit, or Baneling hit, sorry. Baneling's going to the 3rd base again, by the way, and burrowing this time.
Oh, this is going to be so sick. Because Ryung's, of course, going to transfer SCVs here at some point, maybe. And that's when those really clean house in the last few hits. SCVs, what the fuck?
Sure.
So mad, so disappointed at you right now. Like, your mother and I are so disappointed.
Oh, 6 Ultras on the way.
SCVs at the National do not get killed. Scan went down, so I guess Ryung had an idea that was the case.
Yeah, I think he's on burrow. But Ultras are on the way, and they're going to be fully upgraded. Ryung has no response to this. He doesn't even have Marauders anymore.
Yeah, the argument can be made if you had enough Widowmines. You know, their damage pierces through armor. They would take out Ultras if there was enough of them, but there's not. And the fact is that this is all Marines. Is the worst possible composition you could have going into this.
Trying to kite, man, but the kite splitting is done.
Oh my god, is that why they call it that?
I was going to go with that, too. Okay, GG. Good job by soO. soO looks just, he really looked like he wasn't, like, not unbeatable, but not taking damage, right? Which can sometimes mean the same thing. But Ryung, besides whatever micro mistakes or overdedicting to drops, not doing enough like main pushes, he might not have expected soO to commit to Mutiling Bling as long as he did. You know, you consider that a lot of other Zergs are still going for fast ultras. That constant aggression can actually catch them off guard. But when they're trying to max out on Mutiling Bling and you're not really pushing them through, I think taking a chill pill basically is the better way to go. And let them get maxed out and, you know, kind of bring the fight to you if they want to be aggressive. We'll see what happens. King Sejong is the map choice of Ryung. Gettysburg was the default, so... And it is, you know, Zerg favorite if they go for that style. A lot of comments on what happened there. Well, I know Ryung can take out the best Zerg players in the world. soO, maybe. He just had to get used to his style again. Don't know, you know, how much these guys know they're playing each other or have played each other. What team was Ryung on in Kespa? What team was he on? MVP? Damn it. Ryung... What are we waiting for?
I don't know.
They didn't ask me. Okay, I'm just waiting or whatever. He was on... Yes, he's on MVP. Okay, alright. Got it. But, yes, I don't think he would have much chance to, like, be a practice partner with soO or anything. What are we waiting for? Okay, I don't understand what that's saying. Well, damn. Could have played an ad break. GG, good luck. Okay, finally we're into the game. King Sejong, game number 2. Poor Terran is down 1. We're good to go. I guess thanks everyone for watching. Since we're in the finals and we've got kind of our peak viewership or close to it, after the intros, do a quick shout out about the Olimoleague, if you don't know what it is quite yet. On the top left, he is the person down 1. It is the blue Terran, Ryung. Down 1. Literally just said it. There we go.
And his opponent in the bottom right. Best known for his exploits in Korea, obviously. It's, you know what, I had such a better intro lined up and I fucked it up. So, you know what? Hey guys, guess what? It's soO!
Woohoo! Alright.
Not to be confused with Smix.
That's true, because her name is soO. I get it. I get it. I get it. So, quickly going over the Olimoleague. If you don't know what it is, then it is a crowd-funded tournament. That's right, it's by you guys and all the lovely supporters that have been with the Olimoleague for almost 2 years now. Dear God. It's a lot of weeklies, a lot of monthlies. If you are interested in contributing, like the Korean scene's got you all mopey and you want to do something to help out, then the Olimoleague is like the way to do it. So go to patreon.com/Olimoleague, contribute, and also get a couple of things in return. You know, there's different tiers. That's how Patreon works. It's per week, and even something as low as $1 per week can really start to add up if enough people do it. Thank you to Rainer1980 for the Twitch Prime new sub. First of the day.
Thank you very much, man. Good way to kick off my 7 a.m. Ugh.
Oh, jeez. Perfect. So definitely check it out. And again, if you want to see the, I guess, the studio setup or the Korean casters, you can go to twitch.tv/Olimoleague as well. New fancy stuff. And the Olimoleague is the reason we're going to Korea. If you missed that announcement, in a few weeks, right after BlizzCon, to cast the grand finals live.
It's still really surreal that we're going to Korea for that. Like, that's...
I know. I'm very excited. But along with that, just keep in mind, I mean, soO is basically already qualified for the monthly finals, just being by second place. The points really are... If you get to like even the semifinals, you sometimes are guaranteed as well. But anyway, he's probably gonna be the monthly finals. But for the rest of the people who are already like out of this tournament, this was the last shot to get to the monthly finals, and the monthly finals was the last shot to get into the grand finals. So...
Yeah, and as well, I'm not sure if the promotion, if you want to call it that, is still going, but Total Biscuit has been consistently inviting the winners of the Olimoleague finals to his Shoutcraft events too. So it's like, cool, you get some money, you get a lot of money from the Olimoleague, then we get a little bit more from Total Biscuit. Boom.
Yeah, it is good stuff. Awesome initiatives all the way around. And Ryung's doing the same build he did last game. It's not really a problem. His build wasn't the problem. Some Zergs are very confident against a 2-1-1, but I would say it's more about the way the template uses the 2-1-1. Because if they were so confident against it, why don't they beat Beyond, am I right? But Ryung just wasn't able to do anything with it. And as such, soO did, I think, have a sense of comfortability in that entire game past the probably 7-minute point, 8-minute point. King Sejong could be a different beast with a 2-on-1 follow-up, but there's no guarantee that that's what Ryung's going to do, the tank follow-up. He could still go for the 3rd CC, and only time will tell if that's his intention. But his Reaper's finally getting some scouting done. Nothing too surprising here. The only thing that could be surprising at this point is if soO made like 20 lings and then hid them for the 2 medevacs to push out. Which, in my experience, has a very low success rate. You know what I mean? Like, they build the banelings up here, and then they're like, haha, you left, I guess there's something in your base. Every single time I've seen that happen, the Terran just, like, comes back, you know, barely pulls the SCVs away in time and unloads and has no problem dealing with it, so... I'm glad to see that kind of fell out of fashion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually in total agreement about the low success rate. There's some things pro gamers do. Like, again, like the engineering bay block, for example, versus Protoss. There's a lot of little things that a pro player will do, and I'll sit there going, like, why? Like, I know that I'm a lowly pleb who doesn't play at Grandmaster level, but even I can see this is a bit useless.
Some of these things just aren't, yeah. Especially, I think I know what you're talking about, the engineering block that's in between the minerals and the building nexus, and you're like, well, how long is this really going to deny it? I don't know, man.
To be clear, the actual engineering bay block that blocks out the nexus from being taken or the hatchery from being taken, that's great. 2 thumbs up. But yeah, when it goes in the mineral line to deny like 2 mineral patches, you're like, okay then.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Because we actually looked at that through the income graph that one time, and it was only like, it's like nothing. It was actually not even worth the cost of the engineering bay.
Yeah. So this is a little bit tricky. soO doesn't see the medevac leaving, but he knows what the build is, I would say, just by seeing how many Marines were out. He doesn't quite see the lack of a second engineering bay, which will tell you whether or not they're following up with more production facilities or a 3rd base, because it's almost always, 3rd CC, double engineering bay, or 1 engineering bay and additional barracks. So that's just a little funny. Like, I'm sure he'll scout it eventually, or figure it out eventually. But first, he has to deal with the 2 medevac drop. He already built the lings. You don't need banelings to deal with this initially, but you might need it after. Oh wow, speed isn't done. Well, you do need speed to deal with it.
But
oh, there it goes.
This abnormally large amount of queens, we're not focusing on those medevacs right away, and that concerns me because that should have been the first thing soO was shooting. I'd say way over a would of mine.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
How many queens? There was like 6 queens or something too. That wasn't like 3 or 5. It didn't have the damage for it.
Yeah.
But I guess with the macro hatchery coming down, soO's looking to turn up the heat.
Sure, I mean, he's reached 63 drones, so he will need the larva just to pump out as many lings as possible. A 4th base might come down too. Depends again on what he sees following this up, which is still not enough. He might be, you know, pro gamer is pretty good at getting like reads that you don't quite realize they're reading, right? Like the 1 SCV that's off to the side tells you that X happens or something like that, right? Like the extremes. But he really has not bothered scouting what the follow-up is. I guess he's just going to let his overlord literally see what comes out of the ramp, right? Which is dangerous, because what if they just load everything up and bypass your overlord again? And you have no idea they went for tanks. Because he hasn't even been checking the 3rd base. You know, see if the 3rd CC was on location. It's a little risky, I would say. But soO, I mean, he's going to have the... There's no reason not to be building an army, and that's just what you have to do. I think ideally you also stop the army from getting into position, but, you know, aside from that, it's just about having an army. And since soO already reached maximum, you know, drone count, he should have been building nothing but lings anyway. But he didn't have the banelings quite ready, and his baneling speed was quite late too, because it started, like, way after the lair was done, I think. Or at least, it was delayed a little bit. And even if it wasn't, it'd still be a ways off. Lings catching reinforcements is a good move, I would say. He's got to be very careful not to send slow banelings into the tanks. There's the second one on the back. Not getting the greatest hits, though.
There's also very little to no focus fire going down on the banelings.
Yeah.
As Ryung runs away, it's been a bit of a panic and loses out in pretty much everything for it. I mean, this was something I think could have gone a lot better. I'm not sure it would have like necessarily gone significantly different, but soO, slow bailings off of creep, that should have been easy for the tanks, much less the Marines to deal with.
Yeah, especially through the choke here. That's the ideal, anyway. But you're right, the bailings weren't necessarily focus fire, and even if they weren't like all in a clump. soO did a fairly nice job of making sure that didn't happen, and he just, again, he was the comfortability again. I feel like getting up to almost 70 drones. He's at 62 for a while, but still, like, a good number of drones, and only having to produce lings from then on. It doesn't matter if he went for a 3cc or a 2-base follow-up, he had enough units to help defend against it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the follow-up could still do damage. This isn't quite over yet, but just the lack of damage from the first 2 medevacs and the first tank push is already a little concerning. He's going to try in different direction this time. There's creep over here, however. He doesn't cleaning this one up, and even misses the live creep tumor.
By the way, there's a lot of people have been asking throughout the course of this game. I don't know why the topic of Home Story Cup came up. However, we will not be attending Home Story Cup because it's the same time as our Korea adventures over for the Olimoleague Year Finals.
Ooh.
Also, Dennis doesn't invite us, so it feels bad, man.
Yeah, exactly. That actually went out pretty well. The Baneling, despite being on creep with speed, went into a very nice concave of Marines that were being split, and the tank did manage to get a couple of good shots this time. And Ryung might have just done it with a second follow-up push. It's always the second time. But you can see, like, he even staggered his tanks in a similar way to the other ramp, but it just worked out so much better this game.
The
fight.
Liberator, actually, I hope he keeps it in anti-air mode. I'd love to see him hit the mutas, but now they're unclumped, so it doesn't really matter. Marines are spread out. There's a lot of Marines still standing, though. He's finally caught up on upgrades.
Oh my god, it was so close at the end. But I think soO, well, wait, the Lings? I don't know if he necessarily had to pick up. He was running out of medevac energy. The Lings are starting to one-shot those Marines.
You'll be an awesome Zerg Archon.
What's that?
soO and Snoot, because it would still be Snoot.
Snoot. Sure. But Ryung didn't manage to push through there, and soO had, like, even a second of breathing room here means that Banelings form in, means that 2-2 finishes up, means that he can replace some of those Mutilisks.
That 2-2 is actually a pretty big deal. The +1 character is already making the tanks kind of not so hot in this situation, but Ryung walks into Banelings once again. This is another instance where I don't know what's going on with his control, but he's just eating Banelings to the face. It happened in his series for Armani too.
Wow, he was so close to breaking soO. Oh my god. soO broke Ryung.
Yeah, close but no cigar. All right, this means the next game might be the last one if trends continue. 2-0 now for soO.
Yeah.
Gonna have to go to a small commercial break though, guys. So see you in a few moments.
Welcome back, everybody. Cutting the ad just the tiniest bit short. Rifkin had to be right back, so he might not be here for what could be the last game of the cast. It's Frost. It's this guy's map choice. The top left as the blue Terran, he is Ryung. And the top right, as the red Zerg, he is soO, and he just barely held on at the last second there. His defense has really been excellent all around both games, but I would say some of that has to do with Ryung going for the same opener, you know. Having to mentally prepare against someone you know can throw in like a Hellbat build or like a Banshee build or a 3cc build, I think does change up the dynamic of a best of series a bit. But if you know that they're the type to go to 2-1-1 every single time, you might feel a little more comfortable. Again, Beyond is kind of the outlier because he'll do that every single game, but just be like really good with it. And he'll change up whether he goes for multiple drops or the more aggressive full push style. And Ryung tried to do that as well. Obviously, he went from the 3rd CC 2-1-1 follow-up to the tank push follow-up. That was a good change-up, and I think it did catch soO a little off guard, especially because his scouting was very, I feel like, nah, I know what he's going to do. Or I know what he's going to do well enough that I'll be able to defend it even if it's not exactly what I thought kind of deal. But I did like the change-up, and I wouldn't mind another change-up, you know, further, just like really changing up the build, but Ryung's going to go with what he feels confident in, and that's going to be another 2-1-1. So what's nice... there we go. First one. What's nice about this, however, you know, Frost kind of be hit or miss for Terrans, right? The 4-player aspect of it can seriously either make a Terran cry or make a Terran really happy. Cross spawn, if soO was down here, Ryung would be a little bit peeved probably and be like, damn, I didn't get the best spawn possible. Horizontal spawns, best spawn possible, I would say. Vertical spawns can be okay too. Like tanks in the low ground over here can be okay. But more so horizontal spawns. And Ryung pushing with tanks into the third base that's going to be put down here can be just really, really excellent. I think that's what he's going to do once he realizes the spawn positions. I'll see what his plan is in the next minute or so. Of course, he still has to get up to the medevacs first. soO should be going for the standard defensive Zerg, but being up 2 games, that could change it up, you know? He could try and do that attack I was talking about earlier in the last map, the whole 20, 40 lings or whatever, half of them turning into banelings, mini counter, whatever you want to call it, against the timing of the 2-on-1. He could also just go for a shit up like all in. That's something we've seen happen once or twice. Not even try and be sneaky about it necessarily, but literally just never drone the third base and go all in on the lings and banelings. That could be something he'd do too. I doubt he's gonna change up his style to like Roach or something like that. I think it really would just be the timing of which he gets banelings is basically what we're looking at for soO. Ryung, again, just waiting for those medevacs to pop out, so not much else to talk about game-wise. I really are just playing that standard TvZ build. I want to say, like, soO looked a little bit shaky versus Gumiho, but that really might have just been the mech, and he clearly figured it out as the game went on. Like, the first game he lost, second game he barely won, third game I think he won even more convincingly than the second game, so that learning process. But he still was like, oh, maybe soO isn't, like, in top form like you would recognize him as, but nah, man, against Ryung in this TvZ, soO looks really good in this matchup. Evolution chambers are on the way, so that should mean he's not going to mass banelings, and there's, of course, no baneling nest, so that should be hint number 1. He might delay it just as long as he delayed the last game, which was, I think he put it down, like, halfway to the lair being done, or even maybe when the lair was done. That is something that is, I think, much more comfortable to do in Legacy of the Void than it was in Heart of the Swarm. And then, of course, the centrifugal hooks after that. But we have a bit of a change-up. It's not a tank push from Ryung. It is a 2-base Hellbat 2-on-1 push. So, this is the outlier third choice kind of deal when it comes to the follow-up here. But he knows that soO hasn't been scouting the follow-ups. soO's been getting an Overlord in initially, maybe to see the second barracks and be like, okay, confirm 2-1-1. But beyond that, it's not so much. Now, apparently this means he's only producing from one medevac at a time from a starport without a reactor, and I'm not sure how that's going to look as far as the attack goes. I mean, obviously it's going to be less emphasis on dropping, and he has to be very careful with the medevacs he does have, but I do wonder if that trade-out is really worth it. We'll see. The Hellion should be a complete surprise. And if soO made the mistake of thinking he only needed Lings to hold off against the first attack from a 2-1-1 build, he will be in a lot of trouble. His Baneling has started, I think, earlier than last game, but still not the earliest or safest it could ever be. And soO is in a ton of flippin' trouble. He only has Queens to really help out against this because the Lings can only do so much. The Queens try and get a concave and spread. They're unfortunately attacking the Hellbats, however, and not killing them because the medevacs are healing. Even though he didn't produce 2 medevacs at a time, 3 of them still have a nice amount of energy, and this has gone terribly for soO. I would call this a straight-up counter to what soO does, especially his lack of scouting. You scout something, of course you can try and counter it, but on top of soO's regular build, he doesn't scout. And Ryung gets a 3rd CC behind this? Jeez. The Banelings are finally coming in here, but he needs tons of Banelings. He needed Banelings to kill the Hellbats, followed by a huge flood of Lings. Now he's gonna have Hellbats maybe killed by the Banelings, but I don't think he'll have a big enough Ling flood after. At least his 1-1 is done, I guess. Oh, the Marines almost killed themselves right there. Oh, almost a huge mistake from Ryung. Even then, his rally... I mean, his rally's not strong, but I was gonna say, even then he would still have his Hellbats left over. Oh, soO thinks he can clean this up still, but I think that was the last attempt. His 3rd base is going to go down, and that will be game. soO can't spend his minerals. Doesn't have enough gas to get enough Banelings. That should be that. And Ryung is going to take it to the 4th game. Oh, even going for vehicle plating. Still going for those Hellbats. Alright, this is it's over. There we go, GG. There we go. And take us into game number 4. Ryung not gonna just tap out of the series quite yet. Of course, that is a build that soO should be scouting for from here on out, so I don't think he'll get the same success should he try it again. Gonna go to a commercial break while we still can fit it in. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hello again, everyone. We are into the 4th game of the series. In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is soO.
And coming back from what was close to the brink of defeat with that 2-0 start. I may have missed the last game, but I'm excited to see what he has for this one. It's Ryung. Now, my apologies for that, guys. Something kind of came up I had to deal with. But Ryung, just make it clear. I wasn't so BM like, oh, he's going to lose, I'll just leave. I'm really glad to see him bring this back because it was, for me, like his TvZ's been good for a long time. It's been better than Legacy of the Void, obviously. But I was surprised that soO was giving him so much trouble. And a lot of it wasn't because soO was doing crazy things, but there were some small mistakes out of Ryung, if we're going to be honest. Little bits of just eating banelings to the face is what we'll call it.
Sometimes, yeah. And that can be the difference if you're going to be aggressive as a Terran player. 5 Marines to 10 Marines type deal. So, I guess soO might be just preparing out of like early attacks or something. Well, I don't know, maybe that, but also he might just really like going for these 2 lanes in the beginning. It does, I feel, not just almost guaranteed kill the SCV, because you usually never keep a Reaper at home. It also, I think, just makes the Terran player kind of go like, son of a Schnern, like, you know, kind of gets a little bit of a mental edge, and that might be worth it for him if he really doesn't mind the economic difference of a hatch first versus a pool first. Plus, he gets his 3rd base so quickly behind it. It's not really that big of a difference. And the Reaper, gotcha, staying home this time.
Yeah, I'm worried for Ryung, though. As many good things as I could say about him, there's just unfortunately many more good things I can say about this map and Zerg. So he's going to have to overcome a lot of obstacles to get to that ace match.
Oh, you clever little duck, soO. Oh, God. So how long he waited for his Overlord to see if the Reaper was at the natural? I don't know. He might have thought the Reaper had already left, but he stayed still anyways, and then the Reaper was confirmed to still be the natural and the Overlord moved in, so Ryung's gonna be so mad. Okay. Actually, the command center finished anyway, so I was gonna say if he had like gotten the last second, you know, the 40 out of 40 bullshit in the command center, I think Ryung would have been so mad. He's like, I kept the Reaper at home, you son of a gun, but it finished, and there is Marines and Hellions on the way anyway. The Ling ended up being a great scout regardless of its intention to kill the SCV, as it saw a Hellion, which is unorthodox for a 2-on-1 build. So he knows it's a Hellion build. It's just a question of does he know it's an armory. I would say like 75% of the time, no, 90% of the time, you see Hellion opener, it's going to be a Hellbat opener. We've seen the like resurgence, I suppose, of Hellion Banshee, but not even the Koreans. That's actually the Europeans doing that again. Or your Gumi on your going mech, which I think soO knows Ryung won't do.
I still like Gumi on the mech thing. Like, I'm just up in the air about that, really. Like, I love mech, obviously. Those who've been watching us cast forever know that. But I even was like, I don't know if this is like the choice you really want to do versus soO. Again, you bust it out versus Armani, you bust that out versus Demi Lovato or Chan Kim, right? Like, you don't necessarily bring that out versus someone like soO.
Well, Ryung committing to not only the armory, but Cloak and Banshee makes me a little more suspicious to see if it's mech. You can still go for Stim after this, it just pushes it off so much more. This medevac even came with this, a couple of Marines, 4 Marines, my bad. This could still kill soO, and like, he should have anticipated these Hellbats. But he doesn't have speed, he's been holding off speed so long.
Well, hold off phone, I was gonna say the Hellbats should be easily dealt with, but his Queens are staying clumped up for this.
At least they get the medevac in it like immediately, and that's a really big deal. So the Hellbats do not get the huge. Yeah. Okay, that was scarier, especially because the Queens are taking damage. I mean, look, like all of them are like half health. Okay,
Yeah, and he burned through all the transfuses too. That's not like a casual half health. That was a barely alive half health. That's like 1.5 lives is what that is.
Yeah, so that was really scary. And also the slow Lings, you wonder if they can get the good enough surround being slow and all, but no, everything worked out okay. And now I would say that even as close as it was to turning into like 5 queens dead, they didn't, and close is not good enough. So was Ryung's build worth it since he only got Lings, which is something that you're going to give away anyway eventually? I'm not sure it was. You kill any amount of queens, I think it's you know, vastly more worth, but he didn't kill... Checking. He didn't kill any. There you go. He is going for mech. He's getting +1 armor. Unless this is the latest stim timing of all time for TvZ. Oh,
Ooh,
nice
kill.
position.
This is actually almost better than having a full wall up.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised soO continued to dedicate. I think he only wanted that extra Hellion on the outside, but just got baited into the Hellions in the wall. This is gonna be such a surprise. I don't think soO, like, okay, soO would see... Oh,
Ooh.
shit.
Ooh.
Alright,
He puts the ooh in soO.
So, I was gonna say, soO might anticipate anything from Gumiho to be like, oh, you're going mech. 1 Hellion or go mech. But against Ryung, I would think it would take like a lot more for him to be convinced it's mech, but this might have been a build pre-planned. You know, you see a Hellion build, and you know they won't have like a ton of production because their barracks will be held off for a little while longer. You go for a Nidus Worm. If you knew it was going to be a Banshee follow-up, you can do it too, because you can bring the Queens and transfuse with an Overseer through the Banshee damage. Regardless if he knows it's mech or not, I think this is an excellent choice of a build.
Well, we got those really cool roaches coming out again. Shout out to the $2.99 cost, I think, of that skin.
Yeah. I think, yeah. They have some really weird numbers for their prices. But anyway, the Nidus Worm wasn't even seen. You don't like that sound. You don't like that at all.
No.
He didn't even go for Cloak. You don't even need an Overseer.
Cloak and idea, this is the problem though. Queens have a lot of transfuse, and yeah, they're a little bit still damaged from that first fight, but he lifts everything. He pulls the SCVs into the fight. Don't look away now, Zombie, because the SCVs, he pulls the boys, and he pushes it back.
Well, I had to make sure that Command Center didn't die. He did lift it, thank God. The Lings are feeling a little bit useless, being trapped outside of the wall like this. They're cheering their friends on.
Oh shit, he's hold positioning those SCVs too. I was wondering why,
nice.
the SCV death count wasn't way higher than it was, but nice control out of Ryung. Problem is he tries to sort of leapfrog these Liberators forward. He's now starting to lose them, and while this was initially only 5 SCVs dead to push this back, quickly became 21.
Trapped. I'm trying to get a couple more SCVs for the Command Center. Okay, there it is. I was like, wait a minute. It's been lifted off. There's no more. He's still denying the third base is pretty important, but he didn't come up with production, and there's 3 factories, all with their tech labs and add-ons on. Ryung might just be able to hold on further. 20 SCVs down is not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, you said that. It's kind of like when you hear someone say like ATM machines, like the ATM machines to get the add-ons on.
The tech labs and the add-ons, yep. Well, that's a lot more.
The wall going down is actually going to really hurt Ryung. That'll supply block him. That'll supply block him something awful.
Oh geez, so much for production. His Command Center only just gets back down, transfers the workers over. He needs a supply drop on his... Oh, those are going to die too. I feel like he's going to die. Well, soO might just be comfortable with the amount of damage he's done now. You know, he could probably just stay outside of the tank range and hold on for a little while longer, keep Ryung off at third base a little while longer, but I think eventually he will be pushed back. Thing is, he's really taken advantage of it. Fourth base, the gold, scan. I think Ryung's glad it isn't already mining, but it's still not great to see that it's on its way. Infestation Pit, Hydralisk Den, upgrades. Ryung's picking up on those, I guess. He'll at least have 2-1-1, or 2-1, but he won't have much to do with it.
By the way, we got Abelids in chat saying BaseTradeTV, how can I support the Olimoleague? And if I donate, does it go towards you or her? If you want to donate to the Olimoleague, there's a Patreon set up specifically for this, run by Olimoleague herself. Patreon.com/Olimoleague. Keep in mind, it is a week-by-week payment, so if you're donating $1, you're technically donating $4 a month. So that's the best way to support it. If you donate anything here on the channel, it just goes to me and Zombie. So there's your answer.
Well, oh geez. Tank's not getting their shots in before Ryung has to pick up. But he is pushing soO back. But he's also at 60 supply disadvantage. Again, the SCV count wasn't the worst thing about this game. 32 SCVs, if all of your command centers are very quick to getting back to mining and mill dropping, I don't think it's such a big deal. Especially also if you're going bio. The fact that it's mech also a little bit trippy, because you don't usually see mech. But, you know, this third base has not landed in the last, like, 4 minutes. And it has so much mule energy. And that is also contributing to his lack of supply.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you could even consider dropping it on depots just to use the energy, man.
Yeah.
I think normally you're at 10.5 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, you want to just be scanning and not really worried about mules, but he needs mules quite badly.
Yeah, I mean, he's banking minerals, so that's not a really good thing. He did need the gases more so. There's only so much you can, like, max out on in Hellbats. Because, hey, generally, Hellions will be running around, too. And you have to replace those, and that's where your money can go into. Not the case here. Liberator trying to do something, tanks trying to do something. Unfortunately, that means that 2 tanks are away from the defense, and only 2 tanks left. If soO sees that, if soO sees something behind this, I think he just go for it.
The Liberators are going to get picked off by the Corsair Biles. However, only one goes down. The tank barely with that, and I think Ryung's still going to die out here, but this got a lot closer than I thought it would as far as soO just kind of started to trickle his units out.
Yeah. SimCity worked against him, I guess. Lots of areas he had to go through trope. GG.
It's worth noting at the very end there, Ryung did have a tank on the gold base of soO, but it was not getting much. He knew that was not going to make up for the damage he was taking.
Yeah. Well,
but awesome stuff.
Me and soO wins it, and apparently Ryung has lost 3 Olimoleague finals in a row.
That's right, but he's been in the finals 3 times in a row, which is a not so feels bad moment too.
Well, he won.
Because second place.
Oh, it was in a row. Yeah, you're right. Go on.
Yeah, so he's been there 4 times, but he has lost 3 in a row. Because my comment on this is like the Olimoleague, speaking of that Patreon shout out we did a moment ago, has a very generous prize pool to offer, about $250-ish a week, and second place is 80-ish bucks. That's not too bad for a second place finish. Not to mention Ryung with the just simply placing in the finals so many times has pretty much locked his spot down in the monthly finals. We got soO now possibly coming back for the monthly finals, having won this now. It's a lot of cool potential for who's going to be in the monthly finals.
Mm-hmm. That'll be next Tuesday. Also, the last regular Olimoleague. Next time you'll see us after next week is going to be live. Cool.
Ooh.
Oh my god. But we'll do our shoutouts after this quick commercial break. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys in 2 minutes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching that last set of ads. We are done for the day.
If you love butts.
Also that. Apparently, we had a new sub that we missed. Alistair? When did that happen?
I don't know, because my shit's been broken since I DC'd earlier. So, yay! Thank you, Alistair, for the sub!
I don't even see it. I just see it on the, OBS. There it is, just now. Alistair1 has subbed. Okay, then. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Once again, first and foremost, please look at the Olimoleague on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Olimoleague. I know it's a little bit deceptive on the overlay. To check out the rewards you can get, as well as just know you're contributing to the improvement of the Korean scene, like bigger and better things in the future. Of course, you can also follow the channel down below for us, but also the Korean channel, the Olimoleague channel, especially for next week, where they will have the players live in studio and have like the camera set up, and it's all nice and fancy and cool. So look forward to that next week. For us personally, thanks to our channel sponsors, Chairs for Gaming. Use code BaseTradeTV for $20 off and free shipping. G2A.com. Use code BASE for 3% cash back. Your wood watches. Woodwatches.com/base is actually what you got to go to. Nice watches, especially as the holidays are running, coming around and whatnot. Let's look at for maybe, I don't know if they're going to do a deal later on. They have done so in the past for like Father's Day and stuff, but a new sub. Thank you to Walmec.
Oh, hey, Walmec. I was actually just poking the guy from Woodwatches last night saying, let's do some sort of promotion. Let's get together and do something after we get back from Korea, because I would really like to try and sell some watches for the holiday, but also eventually get that goal reached so we can do another tournament.
Yes.
Because the last one was a lot of fun.
That is the other thing that you are contributing to if you also would like a new fancy watch for you or someone you like or don't like but want to get a watch anyway. And last but not least, thank you to Corsair Gaming. Continued support for the Corsair Cups. Awesome gear. Check out the links down below if you'd like to check out their peripherals. And finally for me, check out the Amazon links way down below. Costs nothing extra for you, but gives a percentage of your purchase to me and my support and all that stuff. Follow me on Twitter at ZJ Gaming, on Twitch at ZombieGrub, and YouTube at ZombieGrub, where I post builder tutorials, tips and tricks, co-op, gameplay, a bunch of different stuff. It'd be a lot of help if you did that.
Yeah. Also, quick reminder that we mentioned before, we want to celebrate finally hitting 10,000 subs on YouTube. Woo! With a giveaway. So we're going to put a $100 budget on it. I want you guys to tweet me suggestions. We've had some good ones so far. Some are not so doable, like people saying, well, why don't you give away a skin code and a voice pack and just a whole bundle of things from StarCraft. Unfortunately, you can't buy that for other people. You can buy it for your own account, and that's it right now. So unfortunately, that's not really an option presently. However, other ideas that have been suggested are pretty good, like, give away a version of the Corsair Void headsets, or give away Civ 6 or something like that's popular. So continue hitting us up with your ideas, guys. We'll eventually pick one of those and do a raffle, a giveaway style through Twitter for everybody. It won't be just for subscribers. It won't just be for blank. It's because we're just trying to celebrate hitting 10K subs on YouTube, which is kind of it's a small accomplishment objectively, but a big one for us. So, and thank you guys. If you haven't already subbed to our YouTube, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. In the channel info down below, actually, we have a link directly to our most recent co-op exploit. And we got this new weekly mutation we plan to tackle later today / tomorrow / however fucking long it takes, because sometimes these take us too long to beat.
Womp womp. That one was easy once the bug was fixed.
Yeah, and we got a little bit lucky with RNG too. We didn't get totally screwed by stupid stuff all compiling at once. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So follow the channel. Give some love to whoever we end up posting once we go offline. And thanks again for watching. We hope to see you guys in, I want to say, a little over 24 hours, like 26 or 28 hours, something like that, is when we are live next with the Dutch StarCraft League. It's Euthermal's group, so it should be a good one. Mm-hmm. And actually, who is it's Euthermal Revolution, Sake, and there's gonna be like one other. I don't know who the other is yet. They may have replaced somebody, but anyways, yeah, that'll be our last big thing we really do for the week. Then I think we got like one more Corsair Cup and one more Olimoleague before BlizzCon.
Correct, and an Overwatch cast.
And the Overwatch cast, yes, the Ting Overwatch finals.
Yep. So come back tomorrow. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.